Aaron Sampson, you're here. Sorry it took 5 minutes for us to get around to introducing you. You've just done a live stream over on Yonder Set for Rainbow Six Siege. I want to talk about the grand history of the Rainbow Six franchise going back to 1998. But before we get into that, what do you think of Siege now that you've Chris played it at this event a couple of weeks back. Now you've played it with Gen Pop, kind of, in this closed alpha. Stay tuned we're giving away codes. What do you think about Rainbow Six Siege now you've played it with like a bunch of random?
I mean, to be fair, I think the first couple hours of today was just pretty much the JV teams kind of scrimmaging and learning how to play in the game.
Yeah.
Not necessarily indicative of what it's going to be halfway through the week when people actually start getting 5-man teams together and communicating. That being said, I don't think they can ever rely on people actually talking. That's a lot of what we ran into this morning. They're really going to have to work on those mechanics. For example, we were talking about how, Evolve has a certain amount of spotting that works, and
yes.
Portal has the look and time. Even like the old Vegas series had the mark and go kind of.
Yeah, true.
Buttons.
Like under the door style.
Yeah. So they're going to have to do something with the lack of talking, and it can't just be, we're just going to assume people are going to talk.
Because you were playing on PC, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. It's the problem with the next-gen consoles as well, our current gen, is that for some of them, the mic packs weren't bundled in as well, so people just aren't kind of talking.
Oh, I guess they had versions that didn't have the mics
I think the
built in.
Kinect one, if you get that. Do you get a headset?
Even if people do have mics, man, I mean, you can't count on them to talk or to want to talk or to be playing in an environment when they can talk. So yeah, they need to have something like that. We asked them about it when we were there. They said they're maybe working on something, but it does feel a little crazy currently in the closed alpha. It's, some people are talking, but the audio, for the most part for me, was really muddled. So it was tough to hear. And so you're just kind of like, well, I'll go with this guy and maybe we'll do something complimentary together. And you sort of try to observe what your teammates are doing and sort of have a loose plan. And I think, like Aaron said, there are only 2 maps. And so as people get to learn the layout, get to learn what are effective strategies, that the whole level of the game will improve. And then, well, that's the idea, right?
Yeah.
You hope that'll happen, but especially currently in the closed alpha, you can't squad up.
Oh,
so
you
you're
can't.
not actually,
really?
like Aaron and I can't go into a match together.
Right.
And that's a whole different experience because we're able to plot ahead of time. We're able to, scout and sort of coordinate stuff. And that is a lot of the fun of sort of teaming up and figuring out ways to dismantle the situation.
Actually, interestingly enough, it's developed up in Montreal, and a lot of the people were also speaking French on the servers.
Oh,
now,
really?
given, it's a closed alpha, but our French is kind of rusty.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe having the game have contextual call-outs would be better, where the actual characters themselves call out what you're seeing. Just things that get away from players having to memorize what everything's called and articulate what it is to other players.
Outside of the communication snafus, obviously this is a closed alpha build of the game, so it's super early. Have you guys been sort of playing around with the destructibility with the weapons? Have you learned any interesting little sort of tactics?
Dude, flanking
today?
runs with Sledge, the attacker. He's got the hammer. Normally to breach through a wall and destroy it, you have to set up your pad, get to safe distance, click the thing.
Yeah.
But with him, he's just oh, bop, and it blows up. And so if you, I had a few times where I just ran through the cargo area or the rooftop crawl space of the plane and came around and just bopped my way through walls and totally destroyed dudes.
Can you kill people with the sledgehammer?
Yeah, you can. We haven't actually done it successfully. Because it's as soon as you see someone, you want to shoot them real quick because bullets kill you super quickly in this game.
Like Counter-Strike style?
Yeah, and but to do that, you need intel. So having your drone available, looking at security cameras, is still super important.
My favorite moment from the stream this morning was literally when Chris got backed into a corner and was like, oh my god, I'm trapped. And then he was like, oh wait, no, you can just go through this wall. It's just changing your whole mentality that this is not an obstacle to me anymore. I can get out, just go through it.
That's excellent. I heard there's some sort of, there's a weapon that shoots bombs at walls that explode, but you guys figured out this new way of using it.
We used it there was an indestructible wall, and there was somebody had put down Castle, I think it is, had put down a barrier, and so we fired it into the wall the unbreachable wall next to the barrier, and it blew sideways.
Oh, almost like throwing a claymore mine or something.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of a grenade, but it basically blew out behind the cover and killed the dudes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff still to learn about Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, you can't shoot through airplane windows. Don't even try it.
Yeah,
It's good for intel.
Seems legit. I guess if it's like Air Force One, maybe that's a thing.
Yeah.
Who knows? That's Siege. That's coming out later this year. But I don't know if you guys know, but there was a bunch of other Rainbow Six games. It's not a new franchise. It's actually been around for quite a while, since 1998.
98?
98. 98's when the first Rainbow Six came out. I remember getting this on. It came out on PC is what I played it on. It was subsequently out on a bunch of weird consoles. It was out on a Dreamcast actually the year later.
It's natural home.
It's like so different when you think about like Rainbow Six now, like the original now in comparison to what like Siege is. Like it was this crazy like tactical plotting where you're going to send people, like you put them outside doors and then have like shortcuts to say like, all right, go now. And then like, God, look at these graphics. Like I remember like if there was line of sight with the enemies, they would like murder you instantly.
Yeah.
Like one bullet down. It was really hard. I remember playing the first game. Look at that guy, shoot him. And they had the same death animation. You could shoot them any way. They'd always like,
They just fall over backwards.
yeah, like bend their knees and fall backwards. Like do this little, and it
Look,
was,
destructibility.
Good old weak knees.
that's where it all started.
I had a serious flashback just looking at the like gems and geometric shapes on those diagrams, man. Because yeah, it was so about that kind of planning and that like setting up your AI friends to like go like know when they would go to this go point. And I think that's a lot. Like we're seeing some backlash against Siege because it is such a divergence from this kind of very measured tactical situation. Not that, this dude's kind of running around willy-nilly.
Yeah, this guy's
but,
going a bit buck
Although,
wild.
to be fair, if Siege does end up including Terrorist Hunt, you'll have some of this in it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. We're only really looking at one mode. It may be the marquee mode for Siege, but there is going to be solo play, there is going to be co-op play. We just don't know anything about it yet.
The next game that came out in the series, which for me was the high point, which some people say isn't part of Rainbow Six canon, is Rogue Spear.
How is it not part of Rainbow Six
Right?
canon?
So, yeah, I know. Some people don't think Advanced Warfighter Warfighter, not Warfare, was as well. But yeah, Rogue Spear came out a year later. Look at Dink Chavez right there.
Oh, that looks familiar.
Is this a level in Rainbow Six
sunset.
Siege?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, pretty much what we just played all morning.
This was less kind of, this was more outdoor areas. I remember a lot of, obviously we're looking at an airplane Siege here right now. It was way cooler. They had like a bunch more weapons, bunch more like variety in terms of the enemies and whatnot, like the weapons they had. It was super cool. This is like my favorite one. There was great sniping in this as well, like going through forests and using camouflage and like sniping people out from pretty far away.
Interesting. Yeah, that kind of playing around with the size of the space, certainly not the direction that Rainbow Six is currently going.
I love airplanes in video games. They've always got so much goddamn space. Like woefully inaccurate.
Yeah, the presidential plane in Siege is massive.
Spacey.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of expansion packs for this and for Rainbow Six, but then I guess Rainbow Six 3 Raven Shield came out in 2003. That was okay. That was a big hit on consoles. It was an Xbox version, PlayStation 2 version. But then the next big flashpoint, which is where one of your favorite games in 2006 was Rainbow Six Vegas. And it's interesting you talk about the backlash to Siege because there was a backlash to Vegas as well. It ended up being pretty great, but at the time people were like, this isn't a Rainbow Six game.
I mean, you can make the argument that that's kind of when things started getting, people say, consoleized.
Yeah.
It started making the game more friendly, a little bit less hostile to players. That was a period in time where developers started wanting players to get through their games. There was a big like change in philosophy. It was like, we'll make it hard, but we'll make sure that you can get there. Whereas I think before that, they're like, oh, screw you. If you're not good enough, you don't make it.
Totally. And 06 is Vegas, and I think it was 2008 when Vegas 2 came out.
Yeah.
They were like, they weren't just straight up first-person shooters. There was a bunch of like tactics, like looking underneath the doors and like setting up your plays, and also like it was rolling your fingers around in circles. And also you could die pretty easily in this as well. Not as bad as the original Rainbow Six or Rogue Spear, but you were pretty vulnerable in this one.
I can't remember if it was Vegas or Vegas 2 though. Where also I think you could spot the bad guys and then tell your team when to go. It's weird because in Siege, you kind of need to be able to do that, but without anybody being the designated team leader and everybody just sort of doing their own thing sometimes. It feels like they need to actually take some of the things from Vegas and figure out how to encourage people in multiplayer to play that way.
I mean, I think for me, the biggest impact of Vegas, I didn't play it a whole lot, but what I just heard about it so often from this cadres of people that would play it with their 2 or 3 friends.
Yeah.
Like regularly, they just run it so often, and they like just that kind of tight-knit team tactics, like moving in concert with each other, covering the angles, like that kind of intensity really appealed to folks and really hit home.
Yeah, a big multiplayer component in this bad boy, and you're right. Like it had staying power. The people who enjoyed playing it kept playing it. Rainbow Six Patriots was another one that was around for a while, which then eventually got canned.
Yeah, that was a trailer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a trailer. Then sort of. I wonder if much of this ended up being in Siege actually. Did you guys play Advanced Warfighter at all? Which isn't, I guess, Rainbow Six technically, but like Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter.
I think
GRAW.
I think I got into GRAW, but that was after the Advanced Warfighter. It was a Future Soldier.
Oh
that
God,
played
I
a
forgot
bunch
about
of.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were some of the games that I thought looked the best on it was like early 360 like gameplay of the stuff like that.
That was, I think that was the one with the sync shooting.
Oh, you're right.
That was Future
like-
Soldier,
Yeah,
at
Future
least,
Soldier?
yeah.
Yeah, those like 3 bullets at once. Yeah.
Like done. Yeah.
Yeah,
Trying to bring
that was a
back
neat
old-
mechanic. I thought like you could use scout with a drone and
Yeah.
spot them and then assign each roles. And then you could do that in like Splinter Cell Conviction as one dude. You didn't need all your teammates.
Yeah,
You
exactly,
could just shoot
yeah.
everyone yourself.
You used to try and be able to do that in the first Rainbow Six game, where you'd set up these like calls. You'd shoot and hit like page up and like end and something else to like make those teams go live as well, because they'd be in like docile mode. And then like within 3 seconds, 8 of your team would be fucking dead. Like some guy'd run around the corner and throw a grenade and it's like,
That was just because you didn't have enough finger dexterity to hit
Yeah.
all of the keys at the same time.
well, no wonder they've had to dumb down the console versions. You got less buttons to play with. Last note on Siege. Obviously, you guys played it a couple of weeks ago. You played some more today on the stream. We're giving out a bunch of codes in just a minute as well for people to get involved in the closed alpha. Do you guys like the direction it's going in? What does it feel like? Does it feel like something that'll like replace Battlefield for you, or like replace Evolve for you? What do you think, Aaron?
I think it's very complementary to a game like Battlefield. You know, Battlefield has been continually pulled towards Call of Duty, and I think we need other games that are pulled back more in the tactical direction. So yeah, it's much faster paced than people are used to in that franchise, but like just bringing that level of moment to moment, like the tacticalness of it is very second to second. It's
Right.
thinking very quickly with your tools on your toes, and then just remembering you can go through half the crap on the level. And that combined to me is compelling. Like they could leave graphics behind and I
really?
wouldn't care that much.
And it's so, like, that speed, it's really hard to sort of communicate outside of actually playing it how much, because you've got, you know, your 30 seconds of prep time, and you have 3 minutes for a round. It doesn't sound that short for, like, I don't know, it's short, but it just, like, you can burn 45 seconds just getting into the plane if you're not coordinated. You can, like, the time becomes a factor so quickly. It's just this condensed sort of loop of tactics, adapting, trying to get intel, adapting, firing, maybe fleeing, but dying. I don't know, you know, like, and that loop varies very slightly each time, but there's so many variables in there that so far, like, at the end of a round, I'm still like, one more. Like,
Excellent.
yes, another one. Yes,
And
another
that's only
one.
with 2 maps as well at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have been playing it. If you want to play it at home, we've got a bunch of codes to give away, courtesy of the folks at Ubisoft. If you want to get into this closed alpha, there you go. Information right there. Follow and retweet GameSpot with the hashtag Rainbow6Siege. That's currently been tweeted out by the GameSpot account. So if you just make sure you're following us, retweet that, and then we can send you the code via the direct messaging system there on Twitter. Get
I'll
to
bop
it
you with a
quick.
hammer.
Do it quick. That game's out. Like it's only in, I think the alpha's closed.
It's only a week.
It's only a week.
To what, Monday?
Yes, and yeah, it's only until Monday.
Cool.
Also, brush up on your French.
Yeah, apparently. Je suis l'équipe bleue.
I'm sure that means
team
breach
go.
this door now.
Sure.
That's probably what
Something
that
useful
means.
like that, absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means.